Is the Backburner overpowered? Short answer, yes. Long answer, no. Let's get into it. Now, am I a bit biased as a pyro main who uses the Backburner almost 100% of the time? Maybe. Probably. But I've been on the receiving end of the Backburner as well, many times. I know how it feels to get killed over and over by this weapon. And still, I do not think it is a problem in and of itself. But what do I mean by that? The Jungle Inferno update, released in October of 2017, introduced us to 4 new weapons for the Pyro: the Dragon's Fury, Gas Passer, Hot Hand, and the Thermal Thruster. One of these weapons makes using the Backburner stupidly easy. Can you guess which one it is? If you answered Thermal Thruster, then you probably know where I'm going with this. If you didn't, that's fine too. Let me explain. The stats of the Backburner are as follows: 100% critical hits from behind, negative 150% air blast cost, and no random critical hits. Yes, the Backburner does not have random critical hits, even though this is not shown on its weapon profile in the game. So, this weapon is designed for flanking your own enemies and attacking them from behind. Before Jungle Inferno, this was accomplished by good positioning and executing good flanking techniques. You had to be sneaky as a pyro, and often this was hard to do due to pyro's lack of mobility, but that could be fixed with the use of the power jack. More on that later. You could additionally use the scorch shot or the detonator for flare jumping, which gave pyro added mobility. But besides those weapons, there was no way for Pyro to gain additional mobility to further utilize the critical hits from behind. Until Jungle Inferno. The Thermal Thruster is literally a jetpack. It can fly you across the map and has 2 charges you can use. Only takes 15 seconds for one of the charges to recharge. This allows Pyro to potentially be one of the fastest classes in the game, and since you are flying over the enemies, you by default are going to be attacking them from the rear when you land. This Firefly strategy makes the Backburner very easy to use. Can you counter this playstyle? Of course you can. A sentry, no matter what type, will send the Pyro flying back in the other direction as quickly as he appeared. The Thermal Thruster has a noticeably longer holster time. This allows for soldiers and demo men to airshot them without having to worry about air blasts most of the time. Snipers can pick you off while you are mid-air, and so on. If you run across a Pyro with the Thermal Thruster out, then you can attack them without fear of being counterattacked due to the Thermal Thruster having no ability to attack you besides landing on you. Heavies can also shoot you, which has the same effect as a sentry gun. It slows you down and sometimes throws you back in the other direction. The Backburner, when coupled with a Thermal Thruster, becomes extremely dangerous. A Pyro can fly over you, often without you noticing, and attack you and your team from behind. This strategy works in almost any scenario. This could be used to pick just a single enemy, a medic for example, or it could be used to wipe 5 or 6 enemies at the same time from a single maneuver. So in that context, is the Backburner overpowered? While coupled with a Thermal Thruster, yes, it can be. Obviously, something needs to be fixed so that this no longer happens. It allows for the Pyro to out-DPS any of the power classes, except for heavies in certain situations. Pyro is meant to be a close-range DPS and support class. If you charge head-on into a Pyro, you are going to have a bad day, and justifiably so. However, in the past, Pyro has had to wait for enemies to bring the fight to him to utilize his high DPS at close range. This is no longer the case. However, is that the Backburner's fault? No. In my opinion, it is the Thermal Thruster, which allows the Backburner to be used in such a way. Now, is the Backburner annoying to face without the Thermal Thruster? It can be. You just need to know how to counter it effectively. This can be accomplished by turning around. If you are getting attacked from behind, then turn around. This turns the Backburner into just the stock flamethrower minus the random crits. The front burner, as it has been called, is literally just the stock flamethrower with no random crits. This is one of the things that bothers me with Backburner opponents who criticize it for being used on the front of the enemies and want people to use stock instead. It literally is stock, but no random crits, stat-wise at least. Anyhow, what if you want to run away from the fight? Then turn around anyway. Some classes can escape the pyro easily through movement speed or other ways. However, you will need to fight the pyro head-on while playing certain classes in this situation. However, fighting head-on negates the Backburner's upside, and if you're a demo man or soldier, you have even more of an advantage because the Backburner increases the cost of air blasting to 50, meaning the pyro can do it a maximum of only 4 times. And then he can't even use his flamethrower afterwards anymore due to it being out of ammo. The Backburner received 0 changes in the Jungle Inferno update, and before then it was considered one of the worst weapons for pyro to use, and was one of, if not the least used pyro primary weapons. The addition of the thermal thruster to the pyro's arsenal has changed that. Then, how do we fix the problems that have been stated? Well, first, the Backburner does not need a nerf. The thermal thruster does. Perhaps increase the time it takes to charge to use it, or limit it to only 1 charge. But, and hear me out on this one, give it a 15% movement speed reduction. Sure, you can jump around with it, but not as far, and while you have it, you move slower. If you use the Backburner with it, then you will not be able to be as mobile and get behind enemies as easily. I've seen numerous people suggest slapping on so many nerfs to the Backburner it's unreal. The weapon is merely a symptom, and the cause is the thermal thruster. These nerfs strike down the Firefly strategy and will allow the pyro to be more vulnerable while using the thermal thruster. That, and it will force people to be more thoughtful about when and where to use it. But what about the power jack? The power jack increases pyro's movement speed by 15%. The power jack will still be useful to get the pyro back up to normal movement speed with the thermal thruster, but that's it. It won't erase any downside needed there. The power jack, with the Firefly strategy as it stands, makes pyro into what I would argue to be the most mobile class in the game, and pyro isn't meant to be that way. Maps are not designed for the Firefly strategy. Sure, maps may be designed for rocket jumping or sticky jumping, but they are designed for those 2 classes, soldier and demo man. They are not designed for pyros. The power jack, however, needs no nerf. It is merely an additional utility that a pyro can use to increase the effect of the Firefly strategy. Is it necessary? No. Is it overpowered? No. If the changes that are suggested here go into effect, however, then it will probably be a must-take with the new thermal thruster. So, in my opinion, these are the changes that need to be made. I don't think the Backburner is overpowered, and I don't think it needs a nerf. This is just a case of when a certain weapon pairing comes together, and they become overpowered. The pyro, as of late, seems to have this problem more than any other class. For example, before Jungle Inferno, the puff and sting of the degreaser and the reserve shooter reigned supreme. However, this would make the thermal thruster a bit less desirable with other flamethrowers, but that has been the case with the reserve shooter since that was a nerf. It is still a neat weapon, and that will be cool and fun to use even after a nerf like this would be applied. If you agree or disagree, please let me know in the comments. I enjoy reading them and seeing feedback from my viewers. If you want to see more of my content, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon to receive notifications of when I upload. Also, I will be releasing a video at 500 subscribers to let you guys voice opinions on what kinds of content you want uploaded to the channel. Thanks for watching, and have a nice day.